The PPP Lesson Plan, a final project for general didactics by Isaac, Jose, Sebastian, and Enrique. What are we going to be seeing in this presentation? So we're going to be seeing what a lesson plan is, or what a PPP lesson plan is, the parts of a lesson plan, and the stages of a PPP lesson plan. The PPP lesson plan is a detailed document that outlines the specific objectives, activities, and resources for teaching a particular topic or content area, that is to say, a lesson. It is a roadmap that guides teachers in delivering instructions effectively and ensuring that all necessary content is covered. There are many frameworks for a lesson plan. However, in this presentation or in this video, I will be talking about the PPP framework. Now, what is the PPP framework? This framework is structured around three main stages: the presentation, practice, and production. Although, before and after these stages, there's the warm-up and the wrap-up. Each stage focuses on different aspects of learning and is designed to progressively develop students' understanding and skills. Now, what I mean by parts of a lesson plan is the general information that we are going to be putting in the document, or the organizational structure, as I mentioned before, which is the lesson plan. Now, the first element is going to be the teacher, then it's going to be the number of students, the third is the topic, the fourth is the objective, the fifth is the level, that is to say, the level of English we're going to be teaching, in this case because we're in an English class. The date is the date where you're going to give the class or the lesson. Seventh is the length or duration of the class. We don't want it to be too long or too short. We want it to be very well managed also. We don't want to be taking up other classes' time. And eighth is the PPP stages, which I will be talking about later. Now, an example of this could be a class about colors. So, for example, me and three other colleagues, Emilio, Enrique, and Sebastian, we will be the teachers. We're going to be teaching 22 students. We're going to be teaching about colors, which is a topic. And the objective will be that the students are able to identify the 12 basic colors in the RGB color wheel. The level of English we're going to be teaching is A1, which is just vocabulary, it's very simple. The date is April 27th, 2023. And the duration or length of the lesson will be 50 minutes. And as I mentioned before, here comes the PPP stages. Now, what I mean by PPP stage, it's basically the information we're going to have for each stage of the lesson plan, content lesson plan, which is basically the name of the stage, the activity we're going to do for the stage, the materials we're going to use, the grouping, which is if it's individual or in pairs or in groups, the time allocation, which is how long the stage is going to last in the lesson, and finally is going to be the skill, which is according to Bloom's or Marzano's taxonomy, which is normally done according to Bloom's taxonomy. The first stage would be presentation, practice, and production, but before that, we're going to have the warm-up. And the warm-up essentially is going to capture the student's attention. We're going to activate prior knowledge, so we're going to make them remember about maybe the previous class or something, or some information that we've taught before, or something that they know beforehand. And we're going to provide an overview of the topic. So we're going to be telling them basically what we're going to be teaching them. So an example of this could be the teacher asking at random questions about a student's favorite color, or what an object's color is, or to identify the color of two objects near them. No materials needed. It's going to be done in the whole class. It's going to be done in 5 minutes. The skills they're going to be using, or the skills they are going to be developing, is thinking and speaking. The next is presentation. Now presentation is introducing new information, concepts, ideas, using clear explanations, examples, and demonstrations. You can use visual multimedia. You can use visuals. You can use visual resources or multimedia resources or real life examples to enhance the understanding. And if we want the students to understand certain concepts, we're going to want to check understanding. So we're just going to ask like short questions, or we're going to discuss with the whole class to ensure that they have grasped the presented concepts, or the content. So for an example of this presentation would be the teacher presenting the 12 colors through a PowerPoint presentation. The only material needed here is the presentation, and we're going to be doing with the whole class. This should take no more than 10 minutes. Now the skill we're going to be applying is listening and understanding. The next stage is practice, which is basically providing structured activities and exercises that allow students to practice new content with the teacher's guidance. This stage focuses on reinforcing the understanding, correcting errors, and building confidence. This is the guided practice. Now, we're also going to give immediate feedback and corrective guidance during the guided practice stage, basically. And we're going to be addressing misconceptions, clarifying doubts, and offering constructive suggestions for improvement. This is the feedback and correction, basically. Now, for example, this practice stage could have like a dictation, for example, in where we give the students a worksheet, and in the worksheet there's a blank space with a line, and the students basically have to color in the blank space with the color that the teacher says, and they're also going to have to write the color. Now this will be done individually. It shouldn't take more than 10 minutes. We're going to be developing the skills of listening, writing, analyzing, and labeling. Another activity we could be doing in this stage is the teacher presenting flashcards. And beforehand, the students will form pairs. So it's basically like small teams, and the teacher will be presenting them with flashcards, and the first pair to raise their hand will have the opportunity to answer or tell what the color of the flashcard, or what the color presented in the flashcard is. This is a very small activity. It shouldn't take more than 5 minutes. Now we're going to be using the skills of speaking, analyzing, and labeling. The grouping is in pairs. As I've told you, it's very simple, very, very, very simple. The next stage is production, which is where the students act more independently. We encourage the students to apply the newly acquired knowledge or skills to independently. We assign tasks, projects, or activities, basically homework, that require students to demonstrate their understanding and creativity. There's an assessment, so basically we evaluate the students' performance and understanding through various assessments such as quizzes, tests, or projects. Sorry, my throat is very itchy. Anyways, the assessments can be formative or summative, providing feedback and measuring progress. Now, an example of this could be, again, the students forming pairs, and now these pairs are given a color, and the pair must then describe this color or express it and try to describe it without actually giving up the name of the color. And they will be presenting this in front of the whole class, so the whole class has to guess what this color is. And the materials, there are none. It's in pairs, but it's also a group, it's a whole class activity. Time allocation, this is actually quite complicated for an activity, and so it's going to take around 20 minutes. The skills we are going to be using is speaking, discussing, creating, inferring, and analyzing. And yes, it's quite simple. Now, on to the next stage, which is the final stage. This is the wrap up. We're going to bring closure. We're going to reinforce key concepts, and we're going to promote reflection among the students. Now, An example of this could be going back to what we did in the beginning. We could ask them to identify one of the 12 colors in one object that is around them, no materials needed. The time allocation, well, it could be 5 minutes. It shouldn't really take that long actually. And the grouping is with the whole class, since it's like wrapping up the whole lesson. And the skills we are going to be developing is identifying the color, and we're also going to be speaking, so speaking. Now this would be the end of the video. Thanks. Credits goes to Emilio, Sebastian, Enrique, and me. We all worked in a team, although we divided the work very differently than from what other teams would have done, I guess. Thank you.